Okay, Carson, but I got the loot because the first question is from myself because I'm a big fan from yes. In fact, I got this mask that looks like the video, and I wanna ask you, Jess, because I think that this is one of the bands that every video is like a masterpiece. It's so special. And what do you remember about the participation in the video Sacrilege by this band?
You're right. The band's music always is breaking new traditions and culture. For me as an actor, you must realize that the story that was developed in the film, in the musical version, was approached like a very proper film. It was cast with wonderful actors, and some of them are very recognizable. And the two directors treated every single movement of the camera so very important. Many music videos sometimes do not invest a lot of time in the story. The music is the most important, and a person on the beach and a sunset, and boom, that's about it. But these two directors have made a career in telling beautiful stories. So from my side, we did have the music of Yeah, Yeah, Yeah to listen to, but we were making a film about a young woman, a very wild young woman. And they were able to capture it very, very well. Those are not the answers I wrote down for you, but
it's okay, understand everything. Bueno, John y César, no, bueno, la primera pregunta usted sabe que está muy insistente con esa, porque yo soy fan de la banda Yeah, Yeah, Yes, y ese video Sacrilege, espero lo hayan visto porque es una obra de arte, y de hecho es uno de mis videos favoritos de la banda. Entonces sí le estaba preguntando a Carson sobre su participación. Dice que estos dos directores, ya les digo los nombres, se encargaron de, bueno, Rafael Rodríguez y Clemen Galet, se encargaron de, aparte de tener una gran carrera en este formato, que es, pues ahí te agradezco al canal porque muchas veces el videoclip no se le da el valor que tiene como cine, y para mí es un género grandísimo. En este video, en vez de irse por lo fácil, que no sé, una playa, una chica bonita, no sé, la banda tocando, invirtieron un presupuesto grandísimo. Si tú te das cuenta en el cast, aparte de Carson, hay gente muy conocida. Es un cast como de un cortometraje. Y ellos tuvieron muy claro, y es muy interesante la atmósfera porque ellos dicen que incluso en toda la grabación de este video, que pues es la historia, no necesito hacer spoiler porque pues obviamente muchos lo han visto, es la historia de una mujer muy salvaje, que resulta saliendo con toda la gente de este pueblo y después el pueblo le hace una especie de purga. Es un video muy cinematográfico, muy fuerte, de hecho. Ellos en toda la atmósfera del video colocan la canción, que es muy buena, de hecho, muy buena. Y esto fue mucho después de que pues fuera creo que fue la misma época que Karen ya había sido nominada al Oscar por la banda sonora de Her, pero pues mucha gente la extrañaba en esta banda. Y dice que no, que para él fue algo muy profesional, un video muy bello, dice que una forma de arte, y pues no, gracias por esta pregunta, creo que va.
Increíble.
The channel now, we are getting meetings between John and Cesar, because we are looking that sometimes the people that watch the channel are more the international audience and not the Colombian audience, and it's crazy, but this is a journey that John started last year, and then he called Cesar, and we are having fun because I want to tell you, this channel got no rebounds, no funds. We are doing it because we want to the people from our city learn about movies. But if this channel grows up, it will be amazing because, as you can see, we are having an interview with you. And let me tell you, we really admire you. And John was really, really crazy. Like, yes, we got Carson.
Oh,
John.
So before we answer more questions, I lived in New York City for 50 years, and I have only been in LA for 2 years. But during that time, I worked with hundreds of students, film students from all over the world who came to New York to make their stories. And most of the time, the budgets are for the short films. But you know, as I do, poems, 3-minute songs, 15-minute stories, short film stories have always been so powerful a tool for all writers throughout history. And so now our generation now has digital technology where we can really tell so many stories. And they don't have to be long. They have to have meaning, of feeling. Now I'll be quiet for a minute. Let you translate.
No, in fact, I was going to ask John the favor if he can share our short films, because we the three, we are indie filmmakers. And I agree. In fact, I want to tell you this. I don't got a question for this short film, but I really love Lucky Motel Seats. I think that is, I really watch a lot of short films because I work in festivals. So I know when a short film is great or not. And I feel that this is one of the best short films I watch. It's so human, man. I really wanted to tell you, but I will translate. Okay, John.
Okay, go ahead, translate first.
Okay. No, acá Carson, seré breve, está muy agradecido. Él dice que, bueno, que cómo se sentiría más cómodo si tú eras editas, ¿no? Cómo se siente más cómodo si él leyendo las respuestas o él hablando como está. Yo le dije que acá respetamos mucho la naturalidad, la espontaneidad, sí, pero que queremos que la persona se sienta cómoda. Exacto. Que de hecho le dije que le volví a decir la verdad, que cuando se dio esta entrevista, tú estabas muy emocionado por el hecho de los cortos. Él dice que él lleva 15 años viviendo en Nueva York, él solo ha vivido 2 años en Los Ángeles, y esto es lo hermoso de Carson. A él se le han acercado muchas personas, digamos, desde estudiantes hasta cineastas grandes, y le han presentado, Carson, digamos que es muy abierto a todo. Quiero hacer videoclips, quiero hacer videoarte, quiero hacer cortos de altos, grandes presupuestos, porque él siente que este formato, el corto, es el que está mandando la parada. Dice que ahorita todos nosotros podemos contar buenas historias por los ads digitales, y pues le pedí el favor, y yo aquí te lo pido, pues que les compartas pues nuestros cortos. Sería un honor, porque es como un padrino de los cortos viendo. Bueno, vamos creo que a la siguiente pregunta.
And I want to say one more thing. We are living in a very wonderful world right now. I know I keep looking at my screen, but you want me to look up there. And so you see my eyes, but I'm always looking down. That's the problem with the Zoom.
Look at the screen. Look wherever you want. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. We all understand the technology. It's like we're looking at the people, and here's the camera up here.
Don't worry.
I started in 1970. I went to New York City as a 20-year-old and started making some films. During that time, it was film stock. Then you had to pay to develop it. Sometimes the lighting was bad, so the whole day of shooting was bad because of the camera. The film was loaded wrong. It had glitches. It wasn't developed properly. There were so many variables in making 35 millimeter film. today, digital technology has opened the field to so many young people that have stories to tell, have no money most of the time until they advance, but have the opportunity to shoot their idea and at home edit so that they can present their important story without the constraints of budget, of monies. They can follow their passion. Wait, it's the economy between the 70s, 80s, 90s film stock. So many films, 200 films that I shot, never was finally edited.
Oh.
Because they didn't have the money to develop the film. The film was bad. The lighting was bad. Their meter was bad. Something happened. There was so many variables. So my comment basically is the old technology of film stock versus the digital technology of video is open so many opportunities.
In fantasy, you play a rather liberal father. What appeals to you about risk-taking short films like this one that take on the role of voyeurism?
You have to approach that New York City, as well as LA, many young people from all over the world come to tell their stories. Many times their stories have been boiling for years. Maybe through their high school, I would love to tell this story. And finally, they're able to convince their parents that they're not going to be doctors. They're not going to be lawyers. They're going to be artists. And they come with the most original stories.
Lo que lo atrajo a este proyecto es, digamos, lo que lo ha traído todos estos proyectos. Dice que se han acercado a él en Nueva York y Los Ángeles estos jóvenes y dice que él entiende que son personas con ideas como Fantasy. Fantasy es un corto muy arriesgado, demasiado arriesgado. Menos mal lo vi con subtítulos y digo con audífonos. Y esto, porque dice que son como personas que le dicen a sus padres, no voy a ser médico, no voy a hacer más nada, quiero ser artista. Ni siquiera los llama cineastas, los llama artistas.
The premise is that my son has gotten his video camera phone and has gone off to video the world. And he sneaks into a bus where buses are parked. And he videos a prostitute in the midst of turning a trick. He makes a noise. The girl jumps up. He drops his phone and runs. He's a kind of a very young virgin boy. And so the girl picks it up, figures where he lives, comes knocking on my door as the father. And we all sit around and I roll a joint and smoke with my son, who I've never smoked with, but I am so proud that he is now, I'm thinking that the girl is his girlfriend, not knowing the history of her. So I'm just very proud of my son that he's not a virgin anymore, the way they are acting. The film director, as with many, many young people I've worked with, through the decades, has a wonderful career in France. And I know it's very long, but the French, he came through the French Institute. And the way they conduct the films is very old, traditional cinema. None of them have so much money. And you're doing it mostly for the love of the performance. Most 90% of the short films I've never seen any monies, but it's the love of telling the story.
Dice que ratifica lo mismo, ¿no? Y aquí pues nos sentimos identificados. Él entiende que el 90% de los trabajos en los que él ha estado ni siquiera reciben dinero los directores, pero sabe que lo hacen por amor. Acá tenemos pues la historia y pues le repito la pregunta a nuestros escuchas hispanos, es que le pregunté sobre Fantasy. Fantasy es un corto donde él interpreta a un padre muy liberal. Aquí él nos hace una explicación de la película, menos mal no spoile al final, donde de un padre que sabe que su hijo está filmando a la gente con el celular. Este muchacho filma a una prostituta en su labor y cuando ella llega a encararlo a la casa, el padre, que es muy liberal, es un personaje, a mí me parece muy arriesgado, sin nunca haberlo hecho enfrente de su hijo, pues empieza a fumar marihuana y invita a la chica pensando que al fin su hijo pues había perdido la virginidad, ¿no? Okay. Él dice que este director francés, Jhon Jatenjor, dice que se acercó a él con muchos jóvenes, dice que le encantó porque se filmó a la antigua. De hecho, sí hay unos planos secuencia larguísimos en ese corto.
Working with so many different groups of students, many times they bring in their friends that have come also to study film. In school, they meet with many different students from all over the world. But it has a tendency. I've worked with many Spanish film groups, many French, Hungarian, Chinese, Japanese, people from all over the world, and they have their disciplines, the sharing of the family that you create on set is kind of like a magical family. You come together for a single purpose, to make the most beautiful story. The emotions are high, the energy is high, the exhaustion is high. But at the end of it, when you sit in the theater and watch all your labors screened, is so rewarding because you can see the dedication of all the artists, whether their job was to pick up the trash, to make the meal, to adjust the lighting, to hold the boom, everything together as a collective makes that story alive.
Dice que lo que ama de estos proyectos también es que cada joven con el que ha trabajado, pues sus equipos funcionan como una familia, y dice que le gusta cómo estos colectivos, o sea, desde la persona que se encarga incluso de la limpieza de los sets, pues ya los directores y eso, logran que se lleven a cabo estas historias. Ahí resumí todo. Ok.
Wow. Bueno,
qué hermoso.
Sí. Es increíble. Impresionante. Es hora de que César hable de una que es Jurassic Punk, ¿no?
Jurassic Punk, sí, exactamente. Bueno, voy a hacer mi pregunta. Me llamó mucho la atención este cortometraje, pero no pude verlo, solamente está disponible el tráiler, pero nada más de verlo y de leer la sinopsis, pues me encantó. La historia es de banda de rock, de punk, que después de varios años quiere reencontrarse, pero por ahí alguien va a intentar fastidiar la reunión. En sí, mi pregunta es, ¿qué otros proyectos sobre el punk tiene y qué se necesita para que el punk y el cine puedan hacer un match perfecto?
Y César, aparte considere corto, sí, mira el video, ya. Creo que ahí respondo un poco, pero voy a hacer la pregunta. Ok, Cesar from Mexico asked that, so it's so sad because from Jurassic Park he only find the trailer, but he feel and we feel interested for the story that for the same synopsis, like this reunion from this punk band. And the question is, what other projects about punk music do you have besides, of course, yes, and what does it take for punk and cinema to make the perfect match?
Okay. As you know, short films over the years sometimes only have a short life. They are screened in a limited capacity. Over the last 20 years, there are companies that are buying the short films in order to share. And television channels here in the United States are dedicating programs strictly for short films. I particularly tried to get a copy of every single project I work on, whether it was on half-inch VCR, 3/4-inch VCR, DVD, Blu-ray, or files, MP4. I try to collect as I go along. That's my reward. In my garage, I have crates filled with the films, but I do not have permission to release them. They are the property of the director, the writer. I have my copy. There are so many that I would love to post. And sometimes young directors don't always stay young directors. Some young directors turn into newscasters who don't want to admit that they were directors when they were small, when they were young. Some actresses go on to be parents, mothers. They don't want their children to see what they looked like when they were in their 20s trying to be an actor. So I cannot release any of those to the world. The best I can do is I take the film, I do a very bad edit to take mostly my pieces as an actor, because my purpose is to demonstrate my acting ability. But I also want to protect the privacy, the rights for the director. It's their film, not my film. So, unfortunately, sometimes you have to go to LA and come to LA and we'll go into the garage and I'll pull it out and I'll show you the film.
César, acá una respuesta muy graciosa, porque pues no nos habla del matrimonio del Pun, pero sí dice algo muy gracioso porque esto dice que él, y hermoso, él guarda copia, sean VCR, sean el archivo, en como sea. Dice que él respeta mucho le está hablando tal vez por el hecho de que no se haya visto este corto en redes. Dice que él respeta las decisiones de los directores porque muchas veces algunos directores ni siquiera quieren admitir que hicieron esos cortos, pero a él le encanta. Entonces, pero él dice que cualquier cosa que podemos ir a Los Ángeles y él nos muestra ese corto con mucho gusto.
Oh.
Yes.
But the most current one is Amazon Queen, which you have a poster. And It was the first time I went to Brazil. It was an amazing, amazing experience to be able to be on a riverboat and travel up along Rio Negro, visit the indigenous villages, visit the different cities. In the story, to be very specific for Colombia, I take the main bad guy off the boat I trick him. He was a bank robber and they lost the money in the jungle and they boarded the riverboat to go up the river to find their money. Now I know the boat and I secretly break the engine. So I talk the bad guy into going into a smaller boat, traveling up the river to Leticia, where he can be safe and have his money. And I say to him, I know you're going to kill me, but I know I'm taking this very evil man away from my daughter, who runs the riverboat, and the passengers. So in a way, I'm the hero. In the original script, I'm supposed to take him over a waterfall. We go down a tributary and it turns into a waterfall. In the story, I'm dying of cancer. So I don't care about the life so much. No budget for the waterfall. So
I want to ask you, you had been in, because it's funny because in Colombia we got a city called Rio Negro, but you had been on Leticia. You filmed on Colombia, Leticia. Leticia is the capital. No, it was all a station.
We only went up the Rio Negro, and in the story, Leticia is 2 hours away for walking.
Wow.
No, so I was fortunate enough more than 10 years ago to visit Colombia, and my cousin's wife is Colombian, and we went down for their wedding. And so I have seen your country. It's an amazing country.
Thank you.
It's amazing country. I arrived in Barranquilla, and the highway that goes around, I can't remember the name of the highway, but there's a big international highway now. So she took me to many places to visit. My most lovely memory of Colombia is pulling on the side of the road in the morning, and there was this older woman making a beautiful egg in a muffin, but it's not egg in a muffin.
Arepa con huevo.
It's like a tortilla that she throws into the hot oil.
Arepa con huevo. Arepa with egg.
So good. My cousin and his wife said, "Oh, we want to bring you to this place and this place." I said, "No, I want to taste the fruit and the vegetables from the people selling them on the roads."
riverboat Tucano. We called her the Queen. But Mom's gone now, and my dad died when I was a kid. Our people have many stories and legends about our rivers and forests. Some celebrate the beauty and life-giving spirit, while others warn us of the creatures we must respect and fear.
What brings you on this little trip, Mr.
Francisco? I was visiting an old friend in the village. I'm Jackie's father.
Jackie's father? Oh, so you're married. Great.
Widowed.
Let's go! Change of plan. Put the money on the seat or I kill your brother.
Something happened to him. I'll track you down. I'll kill you.
Shut the door.
I put a tracker on the plane.
Are you gonna be able to get underway tomorrow?
She's burning hot, losing a lot of oil.
What are you doing in Manaus, Fling?
We got a tour boat company. We've actually got a boat running up the river tomorrow.
This ship has been my family for over 30 years now, taking thousands of passengers into the Amazon for a life-changing experience.
Stop moving. The plane must have crashed. It's in the river.
What river?
The Rio Negro. Expedition Cruises. Looks like we're going on a little tour.
Who are these guys?
They showed up this morning and paid in cash, and well, we kind of need it.
Lucky us.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to inform you that your vacation is officially over. Shut up and sit down. Do what I say. For bodies, go over the side. I should be the one going. I know these waters. Stop the boat.
Where are we going?
To the money. You stole a lot of money from your own people. The truck's here. Let's go. You're a fighter, right? Don't be one today.
The jungle always wins.